Wasn't on air. Hi, everyone!
Hi!
What's up? Welcome to the very first virtual write-in, aka virtual prep-in of NaNo 2016. I'm Maddi. If you joined us during the summer, you will have met me already.
My name's Lena. You haven't met me already. And we're the interns this NaNoWriMo, so we're going to be hosting all these awesome virtual write-ins.
Yeah. So if you haven't joined us for a virtual write-in before, generally what they'll be is we'll talk about NaNo, we'll have some writing prompts for you, it'll be just a fun time. So please join us on the chat there if you'd like to. We always pick out some quotes to read, what your word counts are, like what your general feelings are. We love to interact with you guys.
Yeah. So, you want to explain what virtual write-ins are, or like our plan for the whole season?
So the plan for the whole season is we wanted these to be a little more watchable, not live, because we know there's a lot of people out there who can't watch them live because of time zones or work, and we totally get it. So we want to do a little more discussion-based this time, as well as include writing prompts, so you get a little more action during the virtual write-ins.
Yeah, so we'll still be doing, if you've watched these before, we'll still be doing tons of sprints. But we want to offer some advice, get your expertise. Yeah. So we're going to be talking about different things every time, have some fun themed prompts. So join us all season. But for today, we're talking about prep.
Yay!
Ooh.
Sorry, that's live.
All right, so if you've poked around our website, you may see that we basically have 3 schools of thought when it comes to prep. So we have planning, pantsing, and the one that's in between, which is new, which is plantsing, or planting, as I called it earlier. We love the environment here.
Yeah, we want to save all those trees that we write in for November.
Yeah, clearly. So, you know, if you're unfamiliar, planning is the obvious one. You do planning, you do your outlines.
Characters, plot.
Yeah, you know what you're getting into. Whereas pantsing is the complete opposite. Just go for it at the start of November. This was me for many, many years. And now we have something new that's right in between called plantsing. I'm a fan of that.
Me too. I'm definitely a plantser. So if I outline too much, I get really bored. And then I stop writing, and that's not good.
Yeah, and I find I did a lot of pantsing for years, and I found that I would just get I just didn't know where I was going, and I just give up all the time. So I like having a little bit of a plan. It looks like we have a lot of plantsers in the chat. Lots of people are saying they're plantsers.
Glad it's a thing.
Also, people have pointed out Blobby.
Yes, Blobby, adorable!
Yeah, he's wearing some merch
that you can get on the store.
Yeah, so he's wearing the beautiful t-shirt for this year. You can't really see it because it's not really his size. And then he's wearing this really cool beanie as well.
So stylish, guys.
So check out the store for that merch. We also have beautiful mugs, and this great scarf. Yeah. It's beautiful. Says NaNoWriMo.
There's some great photos of me and Chris and Gotti modeling a scarf on the store.
Yeah, she's gotten to be a model for the store stuff. I haven't gotten to model anything yet. I feel very disappointed in that. Maybe later. Anyways, back on topic. So someone asked if Blobby is a planner, a pantser, or a plantser.
I think he would be a plantser because he's an herbivore, right? Right?
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Plantser, yeah. All right. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I think he's in the planter boat. I think he's our planter comrade. So do you want to talk about like what you've done already for outlining and for prep?
Okay.
I don't mean to embarrass you if you haven't done anything yet.
I sort of have. The story I'm writing for NaNo was actually the one I was going to do for camp, and then I didn't. I decided to do something totally different for camp. So, I have, should I say the plot of my story? Do you guys want to hear the plot of my story? I'm just gonna go for it. I can't even remember. So I'm writing an American Revolution story because I've always really loved the American Revolution with the Hamilton craze that has swept the entire world. I thought it was very suiting. So I'm writing a story about a young woman who has disguised herself in the American Revolution as a soldier, a male soldier, because women were not allowed to fight, and left when America actually lost the revolution. So it's like an American Revolution AU, I guess.
It's Hamilton AU.
It is a Hamilton AU, I'm not gonna lie.
Hamilton AU.
But a lot more focused,
right.
yeah. A lot more focused on the women of the revolution.
So what do you have planned? Like, do you know your chapters and everything?
No.
No.
I have my main character. She's really cool. I have like one or two other characters that I want to include. But no, other than that, I have a general plot and some characters.
Okay, that's the plans are right. I have a little more. I'm doing more series of short stories. So mine takes place in a bar, and we have 10 people at the bar, and they each have this important story in their life that they end up telling at some point in the night. And so the majority of it is these stories. So I have the stories loosely planned. Like I have little blurbs for all the stories. And I'm having fun with that. That it gives me variety because with 50,000 words, I get bored. And so doing shorts works for me. And then this like overarching story is pretty well planned other than the ending. I have no clue how it's going to end.
Wow. So I'm looking at her outline. It's intense. Wow.
It looks more intense.
I've never done an outline like that.
Yeah, so it looks like a lot because I have all these like blurbs of the stories, but it's basically like, oh, this is gonna happen in the story, and then I don't know actually the series of events. And then I have no clue how it ends, so if anyone has any ideas for some crazy way for it to end, because I guess right now they just go home, and that's pretty boring. So yeah.
Maybe it could have some great literary meaning. They just go home.
They just go home. That's really existential. It's a really postmodern word. Toss. All right. So yeah, what have you guys done already? Have you not started anything? If you're pantsing, you really haven't started anything. Are you a little obsessive like me? It looks like people's outlines are getting there. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of
going so fast.
Yeah, it's going so fast. It's hard to keep up. Like, it's great. It's great that you guys are so talkative.
Yeah,
really
I love it.
So that's what we're doing. So we kind of touched on I think what we think we need. Like, you have your character and your basic story, and that's enough. Some elements you guys might want to think about depending on the level of planning you're doing. You know, who your characters are,
Always
what makes them tick. I think fleshing out characters is a really good thing to do before the month starts, especially with your main characters, because then if you at least know their motivation, what scares them, then it gives you more room to like.
I always feel like it's really important just to have likable characters, even if you don't have a plot, because I explained it to my mom actually this way. I wonder if she's watching. Mom, you'll know this. But I was like, her favorite actor is Johnny Depp. I was like, Mom, like, anything that Johnny Depp does, like, you would go see him and write, like, just because you like him. She was like, yeah, sure. I was like, that's why it's so important to have characters that you like, because they could be sitting at home, like, eating a popsicle in the summer, and you would want to read or write that. Like, what can they do? Like, but if it's just plot you need to be able to like your characters. So that's why a lot of my stories are actually character driven, and I think that's why.
Yeah, this is clearly a character driven mine. I mean, it's like about these 10 people. And yeah, I'm a very character driven writer as well. But I know for a lot of people they write more plot driven things. That might be your style. I
also think it's really hard to write a good plot.
Yeah,
so if you
that's
do
difficult.
Write plot-driven things, that's really cool.
Yeah, props to you if you can write a real plot. This has no plot. Like, clearly I'm not good at it. I don't think I've ever written anything linear. So mad respect. If you're one of those people who like has these super cool, crazy adventure plots and foreshadowing and stuff, what even is that?
For people who edit, that's
yeah,
that's who.
yeah. Props if you can figure out foreshadowing. I guess I never can. Also, a lot of people like sort of the style of their novels, a lot driven by genre.
Yes.
I know yours is historical
Very
AU.
historically based. Yes.
Yeah, so that's gonna affect it. Obviously,
Yeah.
there's definitely like a style you see in historical things. Mine's more mainstream, realistic, I guess. Also, mad props to like fantasy writers and sci-fi writers, like especially fantasy writers. I know a lot of people like create these crazy systems of magic and these crazy entire like worlds or universes just for their novel, and mad props if you do that. So anyone in the chat who wants to like take credit for doing fantasy and like taking that on, definitely do that because we are here for you. Yeah, a lot of people do a lot of world building before November because like if you're doing something like fantasy that needs a really, like a world that feels real, like that can be really, really important. That can break a story.
Yeah.
If you don't have that. Also someone said dystopian is in there as well. If you're doing a dystopia, same thing. World building, yeah. So props because I'm awful at that too. This just is like things that we're bad at and you're good at.
We're good writers, we promise.
I guess.
We're good
speak
writers.
For yourself.
We are good writers.
All right. Someone's I cannot pronounce that name. I'm so sorry. I'm not gonna try. Is using real physics for theirs based on like a physics textbook they have. That's really cool.
That's really cool.
Lots of people writing fantasy. That's pretty cool. Well, yeah, if someone brought up fan fiction, if you're writing fan fiction, like your Hamilton AU.
Yes. Hey, my first 4 nanos, I wrote the same story, and it was a Kingdom Hearts fan fiction for those of you who like Disney and Final Fantasy. It got to be 200,000 words, and I'm still not done with it. I started it in 2008. I'm not done with it yet.
Yeah, so also mad props. Some people think like world building or like prepping for fan fiction is easier because you already have an established world, but that can make it more difficult because you want to adhere to canon.
Yeah.
So there's a balance with that too. I think a lot of people like dismiss fanfic, but it's a legitimate thing.
It is.
Yeah, shout out to anyone who's doing fanfic. I respect you as well. Keep your characters canon. Or not. I mean, OCs too. They're great. I think everyone should write fan fiction at one point.
At one point, it's just.
I think it's a good experience.
Yeah.
I think it's a good learning experience.
Yeah, it is.
So I think we mentioned this at the beginning, but if you guys have any questions about Nano, just say them in the chat, and if we see them,
hopefully,
if we can,
you can repeat them if you like.
Yeah,
there's more of a chance that we're gonna see it.
Yeah, definitely. Someone asks, Kay Hunt asked for tips for contemporary because she's only ever done fantasy. I don't know how much contemporary you write.
I don't write. I don't really strictly contemporary, but I know that a lot of people say write what you know.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a really big thing. I also like to consider like write what you want to know is a really big thing because it's almost impossible to write everything that you know because otherwise you're not going to be surprised when the story ends. So write what you know and write what you want to know.
Yeah. In terms of like contemporary things, like I love dialogue in my stories. I'm a filmmaker as well, so a lot of my stuff is really dialogue driven. And so when you're doing contemporary, it's like it can be hard to do realistic dialogue because people are going to expect the dialogue to be really realistic. So just write like you talk, write like your friends talk, like the people say, like as just demonstrated. Like novel writing can be seen as really formal, but when you're doing a contemporary novel, things are, especially how they talk, is going to be more casual. And that will really help people connect to your characters as well. Because I think if you're doing something historical, something fantasy, they're going to talk differently, and there's, I think, a little bit more wiggle room for that.
Always reading it out loud if you're not sure if that's how they talk. You'll hear it on your ears, and you'll be like, oh no, like this is like too robotic, or oh no, maybe I should actually make it a little more formal. This is not the kind of language this character would use. Something like that.
pronouncing names. This is gonna be my like the death of me. Okay. Aylin? Oh, I'm so sorry. Little said, touching on that, write what you know thought, what do you think about writing based on your own life? Writing based on your own life. I was gonna do a memoir for this NaNo actually, and I decided against it. But I think everything I write is sort of, especially the characters, are influenced by my own life. Like I think all authors are like this. Like there's a piece of you in everything you write, and like I think writing about experiences that you've had, even if if it's a fictionalized memoir, if it's little things like like your parents were divorced and your character's parents are divorced, like I think that can, because that topic so intimately, it gives more life into that.
And oftentimes for me, like I'll just write because I feel like I need to, and I'll read it later and I'll be like, this is exactly what was happening in my life at this very moment in time, and I didn't even realize it. So sometimes it just happens naturally. So just let it happen. Sometimes your best writing comes out of stuff like that.
Oh my god, it's going so fast. Okay. Yeah, so also guys, anytime that we like answer a question here, definitely answer it down in the chat. Serena said, how do you write a genre you'd like to take up as a challenge but have no idea what to write?
Read. Actually, yeah. If you don't have time to read, go for it. Just like there's no rules to writing. Honestly, overall, no rules to writing. It all is finding out what works best for you. So if you want to write very strictly to the genre, I very much suggest reading books in that genre. If you're foraging and making a new genre, well, that means you get to create all of the rules yourself. And if you're worried about it, I would say don't put that much pressure on yourself to worry about it. Just have fun with it, and you never know, like you could create something totally new.
I like that. I think you said it well. I don't think I have anything to add there. I hope you guys are okay with us answering questions. There are a lot of questions. I think that's
I think for prep it's really fun.
There'll be like sprints and things normally, but since it's prep, there's not as much to sprint. So names. Thirza DeRoos. I'm so sorry. I owe you guys cookies. Said, how do you shut down your inner editor? Do you want to go?
Yeah.
Talk about
that? I think I've said this before, but one of the apps that I use is called writerdie.com. It's like writing or die, D-I-E. And it forces you to just write. You can set it to a various multitude of settings, from it just blaring red at you when you stop writing for a certain amount of seconds, or it like screaming at you with like angry out of tune violins, or actually deleting what you've already written. So it has this massive pressure on you just to write. That like literally just like shuts up my inner editor. Also, I will write with my eyes closed, so I can't see any mistakes I'm making, and I just kind of just keep going until I have something on there. If you like positive reinforcement, Written Kitten is another site, and it gives you a new picture of a cat every time you write a certain amount of words. It's very happy.
Yeah, so those are Maddi's strategies. A lot of people like to write with their eyes closed, set their background to white, set their text color to their background color, which is usually white. I personally, I don't think I have that much of an inner editor. This is probably a bad thing.
It's a good thing.
I definitely get those feelings of, like, oh, this sucks. Why are you keeping going? And it's like, just ignore those thoughts. Like, oftentimes, like, I go back and reread some stuff from earlier in the month, and I'm like, wow, this isn't that bad. I should keep going. That helps a lot for me. We're also just going to plug a future episode. We're going to be talking about inner editors quite a bit on Thursday, November 3rd.
Next Thursday.
Yeah, so just plug that. So another question. Alyssa Metzler said, what's your opinion on too much dialogue, and how can you not write so much dialogue? Too much dialogue? Not a thing.
LOL.
Just kidding. There's a thing. That when your novel looks more like a script than a novel, you probably have too much dialogue. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I have too much dialogue. However, if you're gonna have a lot of dialogue, make sure your readers can tell the characters apart, without every 3 words having to say like character name said. Because like your characters are different people, they talk differently, they have different linguistic tics. So try to have dialogue feel unique to the character, and that will make the amount of dialogue feel more natural. People have this like too much dialogue thing a lot, but if you look at a lot of classic novels, there are just pages and pages of just dialogue and just people talking, pretty much. Like you'll know when it feels too much. Don't let anybody tell you that you're doing anything wrong. Just life tip in general, novel tip in general. Don't let anyone tell you you're doing anything wrong. You do you. Yeah.
For me, I'll just honestly just write it. I love writing dialogue. I think that's where some of the voice in my writing comes out the best. So I'll just write it, and maybe a couple of weeks later, I'll go back to it and see if I can still see the scene. If I can only hear the words and not see the scene, I need to add more description in. Less is more. So if you don't feel like you have to over add, you don't have to be like, he said da 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 and walked over to the counter and did this and did this and did this. You don't have to do that. You'd be like, and he sharply walked over.
Mm-hmm.
And he took a couple of steps. Something like that.
Oh, yeah, someone asked what I'm drinking, since it's green. We literally talked about this before we started.
Yeah.
It's green tea. I'm not weird. All right, back to the real questions. Sigma Saxon asked tips on making antagonists relatable. Apparently other people asked too.
So I think I'm just gonna plug all of the nerdy things today. I think Avatar: The Last Airbender does this very, very well. Everyone believes that they are coming from the right place. Everyone believes that they are the good guy. And I think that's what makes good antagonists so three-dimensional, is that you understand where they're coming from. You maybe wouldn't do things the same way, but you understand, like this is why Azula hates her brother so much. Or you understand why she was so angry about the relationship between Zuko and his mother. That kind of stuff.
Yeah, off of that, like, as we've been saying this whole time, read things, watch things, get inspiration from other media. Look at antagonists in your favorite books and say, why do I find them relatable? Or maybe they're not relatable at all, and like, why is that okay for this certain book? So yes, it is matcha, by the way. Sorry, I keep getting distracted by the chat. So definitely look at things. If you love Avatar: The Last Airbender, think about that and try to channel that. There's like there's no shame in directly taking inspiration from your favorite media. Like, that's where your best writing is going to come from.
There's a reason it's your favorite.
Yeah, it's because it's good.
Yeah,
hopefully. Unless you have really trash opinions. Just kidding. I like tons of terrible things. I mean, like, all my opinions are trash. All right. So we'll go back to novel stuff, but we wanted to talk about a little stuff, prep that is not directly to do with your novel.
Yes.
So actually, Miss Musing asked about some snack ideas for Nano. So we want to start with talking about some snack ideas.
Any snack you'd like.
Yeah, snacks that make you happy.
Yeah.
Reward yourself. I used to do hour-long word wars.
So long.
That's a thing. And I used to set myself up. I'd give myself some juice or some water, and then some snack that was like did not require a lot of effort to eat, so I could like write and like eat. I eat a lot of peanut butter crackers in general because they have protein. Not that much, but I feel like they're better than other things. I know a lot of people really like popcorn during Nano because it's easy. Oh, sorry, we haven't eaten lunch yet. Yeah, it's only 12:30 here. A lot of people have a lot of caffeine. People are saying leftover Halloween candy. Thanks, Victoria. Yes, candy makes you happy. Hopefully, it doesn't make some people happy. I mean, really, we should be telling you to eat healthy things.
But you're
definitely
doing a
take
hard
care
thing
of
this
your body
month,
during
so.
Nano, but you deserve yummy food.
Yeah.
With that, make sure to get plenty of sleep, drink plenty of water, life advice. And having a lot of people like to do a lot of meal prep before Nano.
Yeah.
A lot of people who do Nano love their crock pots because you can set something. So like try to, if you make your own food, some people do, some people don't, try to like figure out what you're going to be making during Nano, you know, because making food takes away from precious noveling time.
Yeah. You'd get another 300 words in there in the time you make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Yeah, exactly. Peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, great things for Nano. People keep suggesting alcohol. Thanks.
We are not solely a 21 and up crowd.
Yeah.
So we cannot
say endorse that. I am 18.
I'm
I cannot
22.
endorse that. So she can, but I can't.
I can endorse it for myself.
For herself.
But not for an entire audience.
Yeah. Especially since I'm pretty sure we have some YWP kids in the audience. Hopefully. If there's anyone here from YWP, shout out. Call yourself out. Hi. You've probably seen me on the forums. If you're a young writer who has not seen the Young Writers Program, our really brand new blue beta website, check it out. That's a great place for you. So yeah, shout out to people who do Nano at the same time as doing school or college, because that's really tough.
I feel that.
And we're definitely in the future going to talk about that balance a little more, but we both have plenty of experience with that. I started Nano in middle school. And yeah, it's tough, but don't put Nano ahead of your schoolwork.
No, gotta do it at the same time.
Learn this the hard way. Do your homework. Your novel can wait. I know it's hard. So other things with non-novel prepping. People are all saying their ages now. Okay.
Range of ages. I like this.
Yeah, that's fun. Yes. Person, I can't pronounce her name again. I'm so sorry. I mentioned Nano survival kits. Yeah, a lot of people make survival kits with like snacks and things and cozy sweaters. I don't know. What do you guys make survival kits? What is in your survival kit? Definitely tell us that. So a lot of people set up like a designated noveling space, which I highly recommend. Don't write in your bed. You'll just want to sleep.
I always write in
Yeah,
my bed.
I always do too. And it's a terrible idea.
So cozy.
Yeah, but if you set up like a little corner of your room or like just a little area on your desk, you know, put like up a little NaNoWriMo calendar or something up there. Posters. We sell posters. Then you'll feel like, you know, that'll feel more productive because you have a space that is for noveling. A lot of people like going places outside their house because of that. You know, like if maybe in your library you have like a little chair that is your noveling chair, like go for it. A lot of people have this whole time have been talking about handwriting versus typing. Props to you if you handwrite. Like you.
My wrist gets so tired.
Mad respect. I handwrote part of my novels in the past because I would write at school when I was in school. I would like have my notebook with me, and then it would look like I was taking notes in class, but I was writing my novel. Not that I endorse that. And then a lot of people like handwriting better. And if you feel like, if you're someone who usually handwrites, you'll probably be fine for Nano. If you're mostly a typer, Nano is not the place to try out handwriting, I'd say. Like you don't have to type up your novel at any point. To verify it, you can just count up your words, which is tough.
Or estimate. You can
estimate your words too, and then just generate a block of text that long. Find internet generators for that. So you don't have to type up your actual novel. Just counting.
I know for me, something I really like doing, I write on a laptop. And I always have fun backgrounds on my laptop. Like right now, it's the 10 years later characters from Danny Phantom. Shows you how old I am. I always find artists on DeviantArt are really great about making wallpapers for Nano. Yeah. So I'll find a 2016 Nano wallpaper. So it tells me the word count I have to be at every day. So I just look at it and be like, oh, hey, it's the 3rd, so I should be at 5,000 words. Yeah. It gets me in the mood.
If you check out the Nano Artisans forum, there are plenty of people who make calendars, like custom calendars there and custom wallpapers.
They're
People love
really
those.
cool.
Yeah, check out the forums in general if you haven't yet. I feel like if you're here, you're someone who knows what the forums are. But if you don't, a lot of great prep resources there. If you like word sprints, if you're here, you probably like word sprints. We have a great word sprinting forum. That was my childhood. And there just definitely, if you haven't recently, like poke around the site before November and before you're stressed out with noveling. We have this great new word sprint tool that a lot of people don't know about.
It's so cool.
So you can set up a timer, and it also gives you dares. So if you need some inspiration there, and the end sound for the timer is really entertaining. So check that out. I'm not gonna tell you what it is, so you'll have to
go
check
find
it
out.
Yeah. What are your guys' favorite section on the forums if you go on the forums? Also, we're gonna be doing dares here too. So we'll be coming up with dares. I came up with all the ones on the site, so I could probably come up with more. Milo asked how old you have to be for the forums. You have to be 13, both to make an account on the main site, and for the YWP, you have to be 13 to post on the forums. You can make an account if you're under 13. You just can't post on the forums. That is the law. That is not us being ageist.
You can still access them though.
You can access them. You just can't
participate.
Yeah. So yes, on an adult Nano, you have to be 13 though. We have YWP, and if you're under 13, hi, that's cool. Hi. See a lot of teens. Hi. Jay asked, where's the timer?
I believe it is under inspiration,
yes,
and word sprints.
Yeah, so if you go to inspiration and then word sprints, it's
I clicked word count the first time, and I was like, where is it? And then I went back.
Yeah. Wow, we have a lot of young people. That's really cool. Hi, guys. Yeah. Okay, we linked the word sprint tool. Thank you.
Perfect.
Let's see if we have more questions. We're talking about some more stuff. Yeah, keep asking questions, guys.
We love all of them. They're coming at a more readable pace now, which is awesome. So we can catch more of them.
Yes.
Somebody asked what a word war was. That's a good thing to define. So a word war is on the forums. There's like a bunch of people, and you set like a timer. So it's like a group word sprint, basically.
Yeah. And you compete.
Yeah.
I did a lot of these. I do a lot of them. I do a lot of 10-minute and 15-minute ones. It's great. You just type wildly for however many minutes, and it's fun. There are people there who have crazy, it's crazy how fast they can type. But it's fun to just go crazy for 10 minutes. And that's if you're really having trouble with your inner editor, just do one of these word wars, grab a buddy, be like, hey, let's see. Oh, thanks for fixing Bobby's hat. And that's definitely a fun thing. We also have the Twitter. Thank you, musical Twilight Dork. We have NaNoSprint at NaNoSprints, which we have different MLs who are going to be hosting sprints on the Twitter. Also, I got signed up for that. Someone asked, what's the difference between a war and a sprint? So a war is a competition, a sprint is not. Although the terms are used kind of interchangeably. In the virtual write-ins, we'll be doing sprints, which are not competitive. You guys, when we do them, you're welcome to say how many words you get, but we're not, trying to compete. It's friendly here. Yeah. So a sprint is a little more open-ended. Yes. Victoria said that Word Wars saved me last year. I got to 66,000 words.
Oh my
That's
God.
to them. Congrats.
That's so amazing.
Word Wars worked for you. Yeah, that's great. I've actually, if you were watching the Facebook Live event I was in, I've never won Nano. I've done it for 7 years, and I've never won. This is my year. So I have mad respect to anyone who wins it all, especially even gets more than the 50,000. Mad respect to you because I've never won, but this is my year. Hope T asks, what sort of music do you guys listen to when you write? This is open to you guys as well.
It all depends on what I'm in the mood for, because if I need silence, then I need silence, and I have to close my door. Nobody can have the TV too loud. It has to be true. But sometimes I love Broadway and I love Disney, so sometimes I'll put those on. But I'm also a singer, so oftentimes I'll get distracted by singing, and that's not so conducive to writing. And then other times, if I need music but don't want the singing distraction, I'll put on soundtracks.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying soundtracks, like video game soundtracks. Those are great. I listened to the Stardew Valley soundtrack, if anyone here plays Stardew Valley, because it's really calming. Also, like the Harvest Moon games, Animal Crossing music, like things that are like chill video games are like relaxing, and like if you want to sort of block it out. But a lot of people like super epic.
I don't know what song I'm singing there.
Yeah, a lot of people like super epic music if they're writing something super epic. I know a lot of people make custom playlists for their novels, like if it's, you know, set in a coffee shop, get some coffee shop music. I don't know. I mostly listen to like my normal music during Nano, or like if I really need to focus and it can't have lyrics because I get too distracted, because I'm a very lyrics oriented person when I listen to music. But definitely I love listening to super upbeat stuff, especially if I'm trying to novel in the middle of the night and I'm falling asleep. I don't really drink caffeine. I mean, I'm drinking tea, but I don't really drink caffeine that much. So I love listening to upbeat music. That definitely gets me going. And I know in the forums you can probably find people who make custom playlists if you don't want to make your own for your novel. Although, you know, it's fun. It's a fun prep thing to do.
It's also a badge, which I'm super obsessed with the badges on the Nano site.
Yeah. Odessa Hobel said, how do you prevent getting bored with your writing? It's a really good question.
I always like thinking about this in a sort of way is like, where do I want to get to? What am I next excited about in my story? And then I go there when I get bored. Because if you don't want to write it, people don't want to read it. So just skip it. Maybe you don't need it at all. Maybe your story is going to jump off at a better point from a place that you really want to write to.
Yeah. Yeah, I get bored with my writing a lot. That's why I fail. That's why I'm doing shorts this year. Find that what works for you to stop from getting bored. There's not going to be a universal thing. For me, hopefully, shorts is going to work.
It's going to work. It's going to happen.
It's going to work. It's going to happen. Stay positive. Stay positive. And so because like I feel like if I get bored with the characters and the plot of one of the stories, I can just write a different one. Like I have 10 of them planned out. Like I've got to find one that I like. And then, you know. Nemi Wolflover14 suggested kill a character if you're getting bored. Great idea. A lot of people love it. I've never killed a character, I think. I was talking about this with someone yesterday when they were talking about killing their characters and how fun it is. I don't think I've ever killed a character. I guess I love them too much.
I've killed a character. I've killed multiple.
Maddi's ruthless.
My friends who have read my stories know. They know. They know what terrible things I do to my poor characters.
Yeah. Kelly C asked, how do you work around the chaos of life? Because November is a very busy month. That's a tough one.
That is a really hard one.
You try. Yeah, so we have Thanksgiving is in November. People are in school. A lot of people have midterms in November. I always had midterms during Nano. It's tough. But you gotta just set aside the time to write. And even on the days that you're really busy, if you don't get your 1,667 words in, even if you just get 3 words in, that's 3 more than you would have had. So try to schedule time to catch up when you know you're going to be less busy. Or if you're less busy in the beginning of the month, try to write more than the minimum in the beginning of the month. Yeah. Someone said my tea looks like poison. That's rude. Rude.
It's the same color as Floppy, and Floppy's not poisonous.
Rude. Okay. I actually ran out today. This is my last of it, so you guys won't have to see it again until I buy more, which will be probably this weekend. I mean, Maddie's drinking tea too, but hers is a normal color.
Yeah,
it's in a Nano mug, so you can't judge her.
Yeah.
I guess I can put mine in the Nano mug. That's right here.
Head chai. It was good.
Mary Horton asks, what time of day do you usually write?
All times. Whenever I
All
can.
day, every day.
Yeah.
I'm like a mid-afternoon, I think, is my most productive time. I think, when do you guys write? I know a lot of people love burning the midnight oil. I do some of that, but midnight to evening, I feel like, is like a time when I usually don't have much else going on, so I can really sit down and write, you know. Kevin Shea asks, is there cliches we like to avoid?
Oh, they're definitely okay.
Avoid? I think you mean embrace.
I am not a big fan of romance, so I will try my very hardest not to have any romance in my story. I think the best romance stories are ones that are actually not acknowledged. I really, because that's what makes the most tension, I think. What other cliche? I always hesitate to call anything a cliche, really, because if you think about it enough, you can make it not a cliche. It's a cliche because it's been overdone. So if you make it new, it's not a cliche anymore.
Yeah. I like subverting tropes and subverting cliches. Like, I think if you pay attention to them and you call them out. My Nano 2 years ago, the main character would do cliche stuff sometimes and then call out his own cliches because he was a really pretentious author. Same. So he would always notice when his life was getting cliche and feeling like a novel. So that was a fun thing to do. So definitely, like, it's not black and white. I also try not to do like tokenism. Like, I'm not gonna have like one character who isn't straight or something just for the sake of having them, or like making like a certain personality, like certain like identity be the only thing about that character. Try to make my characters three-dimensional. Also, quick shout out, since we were shouting out people doing Nano in difficult situations, shout out to parents doing Nano.
Oh my God,
especially if you have young kids. Wow, we don't know what that's like.
Nope.
But mad respect to you.
I have dogs, but as close as I get.
Yeah, I have parents. That's about my whole family is doing Nano, actually.
Oh my God, that's really cool.
Yeah,
actually.
so I've done Nano for years, and so I got this internship, and my mom decided that she wants to write a memoir and possibly a play. My dad's gonna try to write fiction for the first time ever, so is my sister, and they've never done Nano before, and they're all doing it.
That's so cool.
And so we're like, family Nano. So
that just made my day. Oh my God, that's so cute.
Yeah, so people are saying that their parents and everything, and like, oh, Carmen is a single mom to a toddler. Mad respect if you're doing Nano. That's so cool. I've never won, and I don't have kids to take care of, so I have no excuse. You guys have a real excuse. Just like anybody who's doing Nano with like a struggle.
You are not alone.
J. Rose Allister has done Nano while homeschooling a kid. That's pretty cool. So are any of you, like, did any of you get your family, your friends into Nano? That's pretty cool. Do like family Nano? Anyone is in that club with me?
I forget if my friends, if they did it the first year with me or if they did the year after, but I definitely have a lot of friends who do Nano. I think all of them have won at least once, if not more. And I love when I hear updates from my friends on their Nano. It's like really exciting. I like going back. I was just, Lauren, I know you're not watching this, but I was just on her page a couple of days ago, and I like went back and like looked at all the novels that she had written and had won a few of them. Yeah.
Yeah, so many people are like doing Nano with young children, and that's really, really, really cool. Definitely tell your friends and family about Nano, or if you know young people, tell them about the YWP, because We have our new site, and we're pretty proud of it. Yeah, I always love having like friends in real life who do Nano as well, because then I can sort of like, check up on them and text them and be like, oh, like how many words do you have? And like my friend will be like, I wrote 10,000 words this weekend. I'm like, okay, wow. That was my really good friend last year was like way ahead on me on word count for the entire month. And that was fun, like trying to catch up with her. I mean, I never did, but yeah, but I think it's fun. Yeah, I was in writing clubs in high school and in college, and we did, I encouraged them to do Nano, and we would do word sprints together. Yeah, so find people in your life. But even if they're not doing Nano, tell them about Nano, even if they have no interest in writing, so that they know what's going on. And so they're like, why haven't I heard from you in 3 weeks? You can be like, I was writing a 50,000 word novel. And they can be like, wow, that's amazing. So we're actually talking more about how to talk to other people in your life about Nano in a future episode. Yeah. So keep going with questions, guys. Someone asked what's YWP. It's a Young Writers Program. It's our version of NaNoWriMo for people under 18, also educators. Check it out if you're under 18 or not. It's up to you. We can't control you. All right. So we have about 15 minutes left. I mean, we've talked about everything that's in our little agenda to talk about. Just kidding. We're totally winging this. Just kidding. Again, we're really not.
We're not. We have this planned out, we promise.
So we're probably going to end with a little bit of a sprint, a prepping sprint, if you guys are interested in it. Until then, we'll answer more questions. Just be aware that's going to happen, probably. Leanne Haluska asked, advice for writing slang or developing new language that isn't corny? Do you mean, like, I'm assuming you mean, like, particularly in, like, worlds that you're building, or, like, in the future, things like that. Interesting question. How do you make slang?
I actually don't know, because I've never done that before.
Yeah, let's see what the chat says, because we're a little bit at a loss.
Any advice? YouTube chat?
I mean, I've written things in the past. It's a little, you need to find a balance of using a little bit to make the world seem different than our current one, but not too much, where it seems like everything's just artificial and made up, and like doesn't seem like that would be the natural progression of language. Definitely, like if you're using a made-up word like several times in one sentence, it's gonna get confusing and like pull your reader out of it. So be subtle with it. I think you don't need to do that much. And just think about like the slang that people use now and like what they use slang for, like I don't know, people like curse words, things like that are always going to exist in any language. They're going to have curse words, they're going to have euphemisms, they're going to have like all that stuff. Yeah.
I think too, the novels that I read that do this really well, the Click series by Lucy Harrison does this really well with their like shortened terms, and then oftentimes she'll define it, because someone will be like, what does that even mean? And then Scott Westerfeld in his series Uglies, he does this really well because it's kind of like a utopia dystopia type of world, and his adjectives were like happy making, sad making, and I found myself using them in real life.
Oh, it's like 1984.
Yeah.
Nicole Aronis said that she alters old-timey slang. So she turned blockhead into stonehead. That's fun. Look up some old slang that people won't know anymore and either use it or change it a little. That would be definitely fun. Odessa, another question from you. I love your name, by the way. Asked, how do you come up with character names?
I like behindthename.com. It doesn't have the widest range of names, I don't think, but it is very nicely categorized. So if you find a name that you like or you want something similar, you can type that name into Google and it'll come up with a whole bunch of stuff. Writing names down that you see in real life is really fun because people have some great names. and it might inspire you to write a story. So you don't know.
Yeah. In general, I love finding inspiration in real life. Like I have a notes section on my phone that's just like things I see that inspire me, or just like words and phrases. But for names, I love my random generators. Like all my stories are written like pretty much 90% through a random generator. It's a joke. So a lot of random generators, and so I'll sort of like get an idea from that that'll make me think of a different name. I used to spend hours combing through baby name sites. You can do that if you want. It's fun, but that's a lot of effort. A lot of people like to have their names have a lot of meaning. I'm not really that way. The only time like I don't often really care about the meaning, like the meaning in other languages or whatever of my characters' names. But a lot of people like that and like having that symbolism. That's a little much for me. It's like the foreshadowing thing. That's like too much planning. But yeah, baby naming websites. There's also, thank you, Sam. There's also the Appellation Station, which is our forum for names to get your character whatever you need named. Similar to that, Mary asked how we come up with a good title.
I don't title my stuff at first. I guess I'll use an explanation for this. So I have a Beauty and the Beast ghost story that is titled No Petals Fall because there's not a rose. So there you go, and it sets up for a non-romantic and non-conventional story. So sometimes it takes a really long time to think of a great title, and you really just got to search for it. Don't pressure yourself into coming up with like the new like greatest title in the world. Just like let it be flexible like your story is.
Yeah. My titles are random. My current one is called Missed Connections, solely because the chapter titles are taken from the Missed Connections section on Craigslist. So it's really fun.
I like that.
And it's also all the stories that they have in common is about like things or people you leave behind. So hence Missed Connections. And I wanted to make a cover and I didn't really have a name, and I was like, cool, don't need to think of something more creative. It's just gonna be Missed Connections. Yes, and again, there's also an adopt a title, section in the forum, or a lot of people like quotes, famous quotes, things from Shakespeare, to use as titles. You can use your main character's names. I don't think like a lot of people are like, I need my title before November starts. I don't think you even need your title before November ends. Like several of my Nano stories, I didn't know what they were called. And several of them, the idea itself came from the title. And so find your own thing. Don't feel like you have to have a title, because if you're someone who like that inspires you, definitely go for it. But like, it's still a novel with or without a title. I think we're gonna do just a little mini 5-minute sprint to do some prepping. So use this so I'll tell you when it starts, don't worry guys. So use these 5 minutes to sort of think of, if you have no clue what you're doing yet, try to think up a character based on something you heard now, write a character based on me. Or, think of a title, think of some chapters, do some plotting, or just sit in silence and stare at us. That's also an option. So yeah, let's get some prep going. So this is going to be a 5-minute sprint. Birds are loud. Wow. I don't know if you guys can hear the birds.
Birds are also ready for Nano.
The birds are so excited for Nano. They're doing tons of sprinting or flying.
Sprinting.
Flying. I don't know if there's an equivalent.
There's not really an equivalent.
Okay. Anyways. All right. So 5-minute prepping sprint.
You ready? You ready?
Set. Go. Oh my God. I don't know what I'm going to do. I should come up with an ending. Okay. All right, sprint done. Put down your knives. All right, cool. So what did you guys do during that sprint? We have like a minute left of this live stream. We might go like a minute over, maybe. So I came up with an ending that I might or might not use, but I have an ending.
The first word I wrote was dead, if that gives you any indication of how this novel's going to go. But I just kind of oh my lord. I wrote plot points that I might or might not want to include in my story. They may pop up in there and they may not. I think I have like 3 different versions of this right now. So
yeah, wow, you guys got so much done. Alyssa got a chapter and a half outlined. Destiny wrote 221 words. Awesome. I can't pronounce names. This is great. The book juggie checked out some name sites. Still productive.
nice.
Megan turned off her inner editor by misspelling everything.
Yes.
Great job.
Yes. Inure yourself to spelling mistakes.
Shannon wrote a full synopsis. That's cool. Jennifer added to her playlist. This is great. Thanks for telling us, guys. All right, so hopefully this was a productive event for you. Hopefully you guys will tune in to future virtual write-ins. We have there's a forum thread about virtual write-ins in the forums under word words, prompts, and sprints. So if you guys have any feedback or any suggestions for future episodes, definitely tell us there, because this chat will not get saved after this. Or you can just put it in the comments of this YouTube video down there. So yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, if you celebrate Halloween, have a happy and safe Halloween, everyone. Show off your best costumes.
And the next time we see you guys, it'll be time to start. It'll be November 1st. We're so close. All right.
All right. We'll see you guys then. Bye.